And we're live.
I had a strange concrete. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to tell a concrete story.
Go on.
I had a job in New York for a while, sort of running a construction project in Hell's Kitchen, and it was an apartment building. And one day I was off at lunch, and when I came back, there were all these ambulances around. And they were doing the slab of this building, so it was big. It was like, you know, swimming pool size, Olympic swimming pool size slab. And the construction guys, most of the laborers were Italian, old school guys who came over from Italy. And there were these two old guys who were specialists in concrete, and apparently they had been down there and they were, like you described, on their knees on a piece of plywood and then reaching out and smoothing and then sort of, you know, moving back away, you know, toward the edge. And one of the guys had a heart attack and fell face first into the wet concrete. And so the ambulance had already gone when I got there, but I looked down and there was this, like, you could see it in the concrete where he had fallen. It was like a snow angel sort of. And then, like, where they dragged him out, it was intense. And so we're all standing there, and his buddy, who he had known since childhood, they came over together from Italy, and they'd worked together their whole lives, and they were in their 60s probably at that point. And so we're all standing there looking down into the pit and like, holy shit, wow, what is this? What are we doing? And meanwhile, his buddy just sort of quietly walks down and goes out and gets on the concrete and smooths out the image of where his friend died. It was one of the most moving things I ever saw, man. It was incredible.
How dark.
It was pretty, yeah, dark, but dignified, you know? He didn't need to do that.
Well, he could have left it as a monument. Like, that would have been, and that's where Larry fell, you know, for years to come. It could have just been
in the laundry room downstairs. Yeah.
Did he die?
Yeah.
The dude was dead, yeah. Yeah, there were two deaths on that site. The other was it's horrible. A hooker was killed by our night security guy. That was weird. He was this really friendly dude, and
I
was
one job.
Yeah, all he had to do was hang out there.
All he had to do was not kill the hookers, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, like, did he, like, hire this hooker and then, like, strangle her, or did he mistake her for a burglar and shoot her? Like how did he kill a hooker?
It was bad. It was bad. Yeah. And the weird thing was, I was the last guy to leave the site at night. So I was there, the workers had all left, the security guy shows up, and I'm like, okay, great, see you in the morning, and I left. So then they found this dead woman there the next morning, and so the cops interviewed me, right? And they were like, yeah, what do you think? Could it be, what do you think about the security guy? And I'm like, oh, no, definitely not him. He's cool. You know, he was a really friendly guy. Definitely not him. And it turns out it was him. And so, like, so much for, my judgment of character. But yeah, that was interesting, getting interviewed by detectives in Manhattan. It was like walking on to Barney Miller or something, or what's the crime scene
Law and
show.
Order.
Law and Order, yeah. It was interesting. Anyway, that's my concrete story. Sorry to bring it down.
Well, I told my story before, but I'm going to tell it again anyway for those who haven't heard it. We were getting concrete quotes on this house, and the guy was from Buffalo, and he had married into the mob. He wasn't really in the mob, and I guess the girls kind of get detached from it, so his connection was, of course, to his wife. But he was privy to all the stories, and she had all kinds of people she should call or could call. And anyway, it was like her uncle or something, her great uncle, and he was the biggest contractor in New York for it wasn't concrete, but it was those giant concrete pipes. Is there a name for them that, like, the sewage goes through? I don't know. And they're putting them in the ground, and these things are tall. I don't know, 12 foot or 18 feet tall or something. They're really, really big. And apparently they were using the wrong kind of soap to join them. There's something that goes on the pipe that not only sort of lubricates them as you slide them together, but also forms a seal for the long term. And the inspector comes down there, and he says, you're using the wrong kind of soap. And, so they, like, get the head guy, and of course this guy's all mob. And he looks at the inspector, and he's like, well, fuck you. And the inspector's like, no, this guy's like fresh out of college with the clipboard. And, you know, he's like, nah, he's just going through. He's like, you got to take these things apart, put more soap on them, put them back together. And he's like, nah, fuck you, man. I'll fucking kill you. And the inspector, not backing down, but like remains polite as I hear the story. You know, he's like, no, you know, I'm quite sure. You know, this is the kind of soap you need to use. So the guy pushes him in the ditch, which is like, I don't know, 12-foot or 18-foot fall. And the inspector is now at the bottom of this ditch where they're laying the pipe. And he's not moving. So the mob guy is like, all right, cover him up. And they want to just keep building with the inspector in the pit. And the guy in like the excavator, that's what they would use to like pick up and move the things around, was in there. And he's like, no, I can't do it. You know, I can't cover up this guy and you know, just murder him like that. And he starts cursing out the excavator operator. He's like, you motherfucker, you put the thing in, you keep going. And he doesn't do it. He locks the door. The guy's freaking out. They pull him off. Anyway, they cancel all his business with the state. He's like, you know, this is the #1 contractor in the state of New York. And they just cut down every contract with him. You know, his business was over. And then fast forward like 9 months later, he's the #1 contractor in all of New York again. He just bought his way back in. That's my story.
Was the dude dead?
No, he was hurt. Apparently he really got paid. But he survived, and that's that.
Wow.
Would you deal with that to get paid?
Maybe. I don't know. I guess
he had no money.
Yeah, you have to think of the long-term consequences, right? If he spent a really bad 2 weeks in the hospital, but didn't have to spend 40 years working for the man, it's not a bad payoff.
That's a great... I'd spend like 6 grueling months with no TV in the hospital to get out of 40 years.
Right?
Like just...